Well, on behalf of Nathan and Allie, we welcome you all here, and we're so glad that you're here, each and every one of you. Every one of you has been personally picked and invited by them, and we couldn't be more happy to have you. Now, who gives this young woman to be married today?
Her mother and I do. Ecclesiastes 4:9, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their efforts. And Romans 12, verse 10. Love one another deeply as brothers and sisters. Outdo one another in showing honor. You may be seated. We mark important dates and events with ceremonies and celebrations, whether it's Christmas or 4th of July or New Year's Day tomorrow. And it's even more fitting that we would mark a wedding, such an important event as this, with a celebration or a ceremony. And so we come today to witness the marriage of Nathan and Elise as they exchange their vows and make promises to one another before all of you. Nathan and Allie have asked me to talk briefly about the significance of what they're doing today, and more importantly, they've asked me to talk about it in light of how it relates to their faith in Jesus Christ. Someone once defined marriage as this: a perfect marriage is two imperfect people who refuse to give up on each other. A perfect marriage is two imperfect people who refuse to give up on each other. That's probably one of the best definitions of marriage I have ever heard. Both of you come with your flaws. Allie, I've seen a lot of yours. And to be fair, you've seen a lot of mine as well. But we all come with our flaws and shortcomings and disagreements and imperfections. But you refuse to give up on each other despite those. In the Bible, and especially in the New Testament, we find love defined as this: love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, it is not boastful, it's not arrogant, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not irritable, it does not keep a record of wrongs, but it bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. In other words, love refuses to give up. Love refuses to give up on each other no matter what it faces, no matter what obstacles it faces. It doesn't keep a running list of wrongs and ways that you've been hurt and wrong committed against you. It does not easily get upset. It does not easily get irritated. It hopes for the best. It believes in the best for each other, for the other spouse. Now, this is not an excuse to do whatever you want and just assume that your spouse will forgive you and overlook it. But it's a command to both of you, a reminder to both of you to never give up on each other and to have a love that will endure, a love that never gives up. The same author that wrote those words also wrote in the book of Ephesians in chapter 5 what God thinks of marriage and what marriage should be. And in verses 22 through 27 of Ephesians chapter 5, we find that the author talks about, and God speaks of marriage consisting of a husband and wife who live in mutual love and respect for each other. That is, that they simply refuse to give up on each other. But the standard is high. The standard of measurement is none other than the person of Jesus Christ himself, who these verses tell us gave his own life. He sacrificed his own life out of love for you and me, out of love for his church, out of love for his people. And that's the love that you are to model your love on for each other. And this has two parts for it. First of all, Jesus is our model for what our loving relationship should look like. And so as you think of loving each other, as you think of what is a love that never gives up, You look to Jesus Christ as the example of a love that never, ever gives up on each other. But on the other hand, you are also a model. People should be able to look at you and see modeled the kind of love that Jesus Christ shows for his church, for his people, for you and I. People should be able to look at you and catch just a small glimpse of the love that Jesus Christ has for us. That's a tall order. But can you imagine what a marriage would be like if both of you demonstrate and are determined to demonstrate this sort of love for each other? A love to the extent that Christ loved his church, a love that sacrificed supremely with his own life. Can you imagine what a marriage would look like if both spouses cared only about loving each other with a love that knows no bounds, a love that refuses to give up? There's more in this passage. In a few verses later, in verse 31, the author quotes from Genesis chapter 2, the very first book of the Bible, the very first book of Scripture. And in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, we find actually the very first marriage ceremony, where God creates man and woman to be the pinnacle of his creation, but to be in a relationship and union that is so close that God calls it a one flesh union. The two will become one flesh. And Paul quotes that in this section in Ephesians chapter 5. And just as the first marriage was an indication of the beauty and the order that was found in the first creation, just as marriage was an indication of the beauty of the first creation and all that God intended it to be, so now your marriage is to be an indication of the beauty and order that Christ intends as he now comes to recreate all things, the one who redeems all things, the one who creates all things, recreates all things, including our relationships. And that's where Ephesians 5 comes in. Jesus Christ, through his death on the cross and his resurrection, has come to restore creation, to bring order, to begin to fix what went wrong with the first creation because of sin, and to begin to put the pieces back together. And once more, Ephesians 5 reminds us that marriage is an indication of the order and the unity that God is now putting everything right and putting into all creation. And your marriage should be an indication of that Christ is once again putting the pieces of this broken world back together. And that is all the more reason not to give up. Your marriage today should be a reflection of the love that Jesus Christ has for you. It should also be a reflection of Christ's intention to bring order and beauty to this broken world, to begin to fix what has gone wrong with it. But your marriage can only do that if you will determine to demonstrate a love for each other that never gives up. No matter what happens, no matter what it faces, no matter what you go through, a love that is patient, a love that is kind, a love that refuses to keep a record of wrongs against each other, a love that hopes and believes in the best in each other, and it builds up, it refuses to tear down. It's a love that, like Christ's love for us, refuses to give up. On momentous occasions such as this one today, I often quote a few words from Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. That might not be something you think you quote at a wedding. But in Lincoln's famous Gettysburg Address that he gave right after the famous battle at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, there's one line that really intrigues me. And Abraham Lincoln said, "The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here." Now, of course, Lincoln was wrong about his own speech because we did remember what he said there. But his words are still relevant today. And Allie and Nathan, you will little note or long remember what I say here today, most likely, even though you will remember what you did here. But I hope that you will at least remember these words in the days and the years to come, that a perfect marriage is two imperfect people who simply refuse to give up on each other. At this point in the ceremony, I'm going to ask each of you to exchange your vows to each other. We'll start with Nathan. So repeat after me. I, Nathan, take you, Elise, to be my wife, to love, honor, and cherish, from this day forward, in sickness and in health, for better or for worse,
for better or for worse,
as long as I live.
as long as I live.
And Elise, will you repeat after me? I, Elise,
I, Elise,
take you, Nathan,
take you, Nathan,
to be my husband,
to be my husband,
to love, honor, and cherish,
to love, honor, and cherish,
from this day forward,
from this day forward,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
for better or for worse,
for better or for worse,
as long as I live.
as long as I live.
The ring is a visible reminder to everyone here, but will continue to be a reminder to Elise and Nathan, a continual reminder, as each of you wear it, of the love that you are pledging for each other today. And as you put it on each other's finger, you are sealing the covenant that you are making with each other today. So can we have the rings? So who goes first? All right, so Nathan, repeat after me. I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as a symbol of my love and faithfulness,
as a symbol of my love and faithfulness.
as I place it on your finger.
As I place it on your finger,
I commit my heart and soul to you.
I commit my heart and soul to you.
I ask you to wear this ring as a reminder of the vows we have spoken today.
One more time.
We have to go back to the beginning. Where was I? Okay, I ask you to wear this ring
I ask you to wear this ring
as a reminder of the vows we have spoken today.
as a reminder of the vows we have spoken today.
And Elise, as you put this ring on Nathan's finger, repeat after me. I give you this ring
I give you this ring,
as a symbol of my love and faithfulness,
as a symbol of my love and faithfulness,
as I place it on your finger.
as I place it on your finger,
I commit my heart and soul to you.
I commit my heart and soul to you.
I ask you to wear this ring
I ask you to wear this ring
as a reminder of the vows we have spoken today.
as a reminder of the vows we've spoken today.
Right. Nathan and Elise have chosen to do a unity wine as a symbol of the two becoming one. Nathan and Elise are doing this unity wine where I will mix both red and white wine to symbolize the two becoming one, and they will drink it together. All right, Nathan and Elise, since you have exchanged your vows and sealed your promise to each other with the rings before these witnesses today in the solemn ceremony, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Nathan, you may kiss your bride. Just a couple of quick announcements. First of all, if you are related in any way, shape, or form, I think, to either the bride or the groom, you're supposed to stay afterwards. I think we have a couple of photos left or something like that. So, also, right after the ceremony, there's a cocktail hour downstairs on the first floor of the lobby. In the Colorado room. And 8:30, we'll come back up to this room. It'll be ready for the reception at 8:30. And also, please stay seated after the bride and groom get to the back, and you will be dismissed. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, and relatives, it's a pleasure for me to present to you Nathan and Elise Hamilton.
Look in the air.